I'm responding to a follow-up comment that someone left that says, I'm interested in your idea that HYLN would outsource additive manufacturing, even though you heard it in an early HYLN video, because A, they ran into problems with third-party manufacturers with the Hypertruck and recently the Carno, and B, Thomas Healy said in the Monroe Live video that HYLN has the largest collection of additive manufacturing machines in the country now. So it sounds like they are already on the leading edge. And both points are very true and very valid. They ran into problems with the linear electric motor, creating that, having someone else create that. So they're bringing it back in-house. Originally it was with Libertine, but then they decided we're going to do everything ourselves. And then they tried to outsource manufacturing of their version of the linear electric motor, and they're running into problems. And I think they're pulling it back in-house just to meet the 2025 deadlines they've established for themselves. Again, that's speculation. So you would think that HYLN would want to do everything themselves, but in reality, they only have so many printers, and those printers can only create so many pieces for these generators each year. And so if you have a situation where you have very large demand for anything that can produce electricity, for example, nuclear power, if they decide to bring coal plants back online, or if they want like thousands of HYLN generators, and HYLN is the only person, or is the only company that can create these things, uh, they're missing out on a lot of opportunity. And again, this is speculation. It would be best for them to have someone else or have multiple someone else's create these generators for them using their proprietary technology that they've built. It's just they just need to finalize things more sooner than later. So here's a video of from the Monroe Live.
Is the wave of the future. And sooner or later, there's probably going to be some way to automate them or make them go faster or whatever. But at the end of the day, I just looked around here. You've got a ton of these things.
And there, he's at the Ohio Research and Development Facility, and he says you have a ton of these things. So it kind of has this impression that Hyliion, they're just going to stockpile as many of these additive manufacturing machines as possible so they can produce these generators.
Did this come when you bought the rights from GE? Did you get all the machines as well?
So the machines you see in this building, yes, these came over as part of the, or some of them, we bought some additional ones. And then in Austin, Texas, which is headquarters for us, that's where we're setting up manufacturing. So the machines we're standing on right now, we have the biggest install base of anyone, at least in the country, maybe the world.
So they have the biggest install base of these printers in the United States.
Of these machines. And then we have machines like the ones behind you. And then also we have the latest generation of printer, which has a bigger print bed, has more lasers, so we can even just make parts faster.
Now, I couldn't find the original video between him and Sherry Lance when they're talking about things, and then Sherry mentions, of course, who's the chief strategy officer, that they want to take an asset-light approach, but I found a similar video. This is from a Q&A call from 2023.
And then the last question we had is Hyliion looking to outsource any manufacturing or 3D printing production that would be out of their capacity? And I think this is specifically related to Carno. Or do we look to invest more in manufacturing equipment capabilities in-house for future demand? So it's a really good question. And as you likely know, our model to date has been more capital light.
Their model, as of the current time of 2023 has been more capital light, and that kind of parallels with what I heard the chief strategy officer say. They want to take an asset light approach, and that generally means you don't want to acquire a whole lot of stuff, but what you're seeing right now is that they are trying to get as many printers as humanly possible so they can crank out those Carno generators. But again, this is just speculation, is that they're just fulfilling what is outlined in the Cedar Park Economic Development Agreement between HYLN and where production is taking place in Austin, Texas. And in 2025, they have to make a capital investment at the Cedar Park facility of not less than $15 million by the end of 2025. And that's an additional $10 million from the year prior. And in 2026, that's going to ramp up to not less than $40 million, which is an additional $25 million more from the year prior to that. And I'm speculating that's going to go into 3D printers and other stuff. And they're gonna have this impression that they want to ramp up things at the Austin, Texas facility.
We've embraced that as we've gone through the development of the Hypertruck ERX. And as we look at the Carno solution, additive manufacturing, while it's up and coming, it's not brand new. It's been around for a while, and many industries like aerospace, healthcare.
Aerospace and healthcare are references to General Electric.
Have strongly embraced additive manufacturing. There are contract manufacturing houses out there that you can leverage and utilize to go make your parts so that you don't have to buy that equipment yourself. It's actually something we're looking at internally of what are the pros and cons of going each way. Right now, as we're in the R&D, early development stages, next year, low volume manufacturing, we'll be doing that manufacturing in-house. We have our own equipment. We've recently bought some more machines.
And they're going to continue to buy more machines throughout the year to do development themselves. But what's going to happen long term?
In order to be able to grow our production capability. But as we look long term at scaling, that's when we'll do a cost benefit analysis and looking at what's it going to cost us to buy equipment versus what financing could we get versus just using contract manufacturers. So
he doesn't explicitly state that they're going to use contract manufacturers and outsource it, but he's saying, well, he's got to do a cost-benefit analysis, and he's not very forward and upfront with what he's going to do.
More to come on that, but we do a lot of the manufacturing ourselves.
So there's more to come on that. So we're going to have to take a look at a big producer of generators, and they actually produce generators in the Middle East, and let's see what they do.
As part of its latest high-profile project, Cummins Middle East supplied a 34 megawatt solution to a data center project in the Middle East. Weighing between 55 and 60 tons, these are among the largest engines manufactured by Cummins.
So they're taking the largest engines that they can make and somehow getting them to the Middle East.
All containers were designed with unique features such as sound and waterproof enclosures, protection against dust, and meeting extremely high ambient temperature requirements and low noise levels, which also makes them capable of withstanding climate conditions in the region. Remaining true to its global outlook, Cummins worked closely with multiple stakeholders involved in the project. On-site installation, testing and commissioning was executed by Cummins through its strong local distributor support. The generator sets were shipped directly from the United Kingdom, while other assembly work was carried out in the United Arab Emirates.
So they had to ship these generators from the United Kingdom to the United Arab Emirates. Now I'm going to show a video from Tarek Sultan, and let's see what he has to say.
So the idea that you can actually have power being produced in a printer that's basically printed in your backyard.
So you're having power that's being produced from a printer that's printed in your backyard. And if we're going to go back to the prior video, they shipped it from the United Kingdom to wherever it needed to go. Would it be easier just to take this thing and
in a printer that's basically printed in your backyard, that is quiet, preserves the environment, and uses green fuels at the same time? It almost sounds like a little bit of a joke, but that's the sort of opportunity that comes when you start thinking about problems and sustainability.
I think it would make more sense if they just, wherever power is needed, you just allocate some 3D printers in that area and you print the parts that you need, and you get someone, for example, in Saudi Arabia, people in Gulf Power, to print and assemble those generators. And like, for example, if the United States military or Navy wants to have a bunch of Carno generators for autonomous vessels, you just give them the 3D, or you don't give them the 3D printers. They probably have 3D printers on their own. They can print the 3D parts, and you get a defense contractor to create these generators, and that way they can focus on creating generators for United States data centers or EV chargers. Or maybe you can get some very large company that, I mean, this is kind of a crazy idea, but a very large company that has like electric cars and EV chargers, you license that technology out to them so they can build out Carno generators at scale, and the licensing cost goes to HYLN.